Time Management for Student by Dr. Vijay Aggarwal. Chapter number 2. What is time management? We all are confronted by time constraints in our lives. If we go a bit deeper, we find that time is present everywhere. Nothing is without relevance to time. It is omnipresent. A person's lifetime can be defined as the span of time spent by him on this planet. Whatever we may become in the future, be it a lawyer, an administrator, an entrepreneur, a doctor, or an engineer, depends on how we mold ourselves according to time and circumstances. Hence, we realize that whatever there is has been shaped by time, and whatever there will be would be determined by time. If time in nature is so supreme and absolute, then imagine how managing time properly could empower you. Of course, it is not an easy task at all, but this is where this book would come to your aid. Utilizing one's time judiciously may seem to be one of the toughest things to do, and it is. But when we think of the reward and the fruits it would bear, the way it would transform our lives and places us in a new dimension of success, happiness and fulfillment, we realize that it's totally worth the effort. If you agree with me on the point that the life of a human being may be defined as the span of time spent by him on the planet, you would also agree that if we judiciously manage our time and put it to proper uses, we would make the most of our lives, mold it in any way we want to with our able hands and achieve anything we dream of. What I believe is, since we all love our life, we should also learn to love the time we have at hand, because after all, it is these minutes, moment of time, these little seconds that we waste here and there, which turn into minutes and then hours, which form the building blocks of a person's life. The life of a person is but the gross effect of the time utilized and wasted by him. And there is no way that a person who is not mindful about his time can live his life to the full. Let me now define the concept of management of time. In very simple words, doing what one is supposed to do at a given point of time is the proper management of time. The definition is not hard at all to grasp for students who are capable of mugging up Einstein's theories and Newton's law and flawlessly writing them down in their examinations. Management of time, as many of us might believe, does not mean that if our purpose is to study, we try to spend most of our time studying. Studying too much and slogging for long hours is not management of time. Neither is working excessively with complete obsessions is not physically and mentally possible for a person to work in such a way for a long period of time, and if he does, he is sure to develop mental as well as physical disorders. The management of time is not just about being obsessed with one thing, keeping the rest aside. It's about giving everything its due to importance. Without understanding this concept, it is not possible for anyone to manage time. So we gather according to the definition put forward by me that a person should sleep when he is supposed to sleep. When he is supposed to eat, he should eat. When he is supposed to work out physically, he should do so. He should spend time with his loved ones when he needs to, and still he would have been enough time left to not only complete his work but also excel in it. But this in practice rarely happens. We consider eating to be a waste of time and hurry through it. We play or work out when we need to study, and when we need to freshen ourselves by exercising, we think that it would be waste of time. When we are spending time with our friends and loved ones, we feel that we need to complete our work, and when we are working, our minds is in the multiplex deciding which movie to watch, the entire system gets messed up. Here, we find that we aren't doing what we are supposed to do in the given time slot, in the contradictions to our definition of time management. In this way, whatever we are in a certain place, engaged in a certain activity, our mind is not present there, and it is a forever our desire to be a present place. As a result, we cannot put our heart and soul into the work at hand. And when we undertake any task half-heartedly, be it work or play, we do not do justice to it, and as a result waste our time. No matter how many hours we spend on it, wherever our mind is, if we have 2 hours to study, and when we sit down to study, our mind is elsewhere, we are not able to grasp the text at all. If we are sitting in a classroom and the teacher is lecturing us on a particular subject and we are not mentally present, any question put forward by the teacher between the lecture would bewilder us. If we are viewing an object and a beautiful piece of art, for instance, and we are thinking of something else, we are not able to recollect afterwards what we saw. Consider this example. You shouldn't feel anything if you just hold a pen, but what if you are told the same pen was used by Mahatma Gandhi while signing the Treaty of Withdrawal of the Non-Cooperation Movement? You should feel a curious of thrill and excitement running down your body. What are all these but games played on us by our mind? Wherever mind is, we are. Whatever it thinks and believes, we believe, and whatever it desires and cherishes, we chase. The problem here with us is that in most of the places we are physically present, but mentally we are not into our work. As a result, our attention always stands divided. How can we expect to perform and excel in any task with divided attentions? The difference between man and man and beast is the power with the beast is can concentrate. Men will greater concentration and focus. Stones, mountains, bridges, the birds had leave a mark of change when they go, while men with no focus and no power to concentrate and to manage their time live and die like grass. Coming to the conclusion of our discussion now, your time management skills are not proportional to the numbers of hours you slog, and neither is your success. It's all about how vigorously and how intensively you do what you do. It's about how much you absorb the lessons being taught. Consider a person who can comprehend and memorize 10 pages in 2 hours. Now consider another guy who can comprehend only 5 pages in 2 hours. Consider again a guy who can complete an entire chapter in 2 hours. Now, how we figure out that how much should each person study? Could the same advice be given to all of them? Certainly not. The difference lies in the abilities. Considering that you are a student, your primary goal would be to absorb as much knowledge as you can. Do notice that I have used the phrase absorption of knowledge, not study. We all study in our own way, be it our books or the environment we live in. But if we do not absorb the knowledge thus gained and understood the reason behind why we are doing what we are told to do, we would always stand at a loss. Your goal would also be to develop a vigorous youth in every dimension. These are, of course, your primary goals as a student, but not the only goals. Trust me, my friend, it is a brave new world out there which doesn't hesitate to speak up and not afraid of taking risks anymore. Time have changed and India above all have changed. There is no room for a person who is forever into his books anywhere, neither in the corporate world nor in the any independent profession. To survive and succeed in the world today, you need to develop multidimensionally. A person who thinks that co-circular activities, spending time with other people, gaining all knowledge of information from every source, broadening one's mental horizons, laughing, playing, spending time with loved ones is a waste of time. I will be quite blunt and would tell him on his face that he is living in a fool's paradise. That he is staying in a bubble that is soon to burst. Always remember that an essential part of success is adaptability and lackability, no matter how much you slog. If you are not adaptable and likable, you do not realize your true potential. Confident youth with convictions and vitality, you are required who can think for themselves and believe in what they think. Coming to health now, our body is a certain of nature and should be taken care of. We have all heard the saying, the only a healthy body may harbor a healthy mind. Believe me, it's one of the truest saying I have ever heard. How can you do justice to academics if your body is unhealthy to your mind is tensed? We all want to be successful, but true success is a physical, mental, emotional, and professional success. Success is the combination of all these elements, and even if one of them is missing, success is the only partial. Our body is like a perfect vessel, which would see us to other end of the ocean. If the vessel spring a leak, then we drown midway. What I require you to understand is that you need to strike a perfect balance between your various necessities in the same manner as in which a Russian acrobat balances himself on the edge of a rope, holding fast to his staff. Even Einstein could do it, then why not you? After the death of Einstein's wife in the year 1936, his sisters come to stay with him to look after the household chores. In the 1950s, his sister suffered a serious attack and went into coma. After this sad incident, every afternoon Einstein would sit with her for 2 hours and read out letter loudly to her. Though there was no response from her side, he believed that a part of her brain was still alive, and by taking care of her is the way he showed how much he cared. If a person as great as Einstein can strike a balance between his responsibility and his work, then why not you? This kind of a balance always increases the time we have to our disposal.